Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be trying a pattern from this vintage crochet book. So this book was made between 1974 and 1983, it says. So I'm going to assume that means it's either a compilation of patterns from that time period, or that's just the dates between when this book was printed. So very vintage. Lots of very funky 70s vibes all throughout this. I'm going to insert some pictures here of some of my favourite designs. There's some really interesting ones that I think, still hold up today. It's something that'd be seen as quite funky and fashionable. But today I'm going to work on a particular design that I have seen and I really like. So let me just get it up. It is this multicolour cloche hat. It is so cute. I really like making hats as well, and I thought this would be a good, sort of smaller project to work on, because there's a lot of really big projects in here. It's really beautiful, like this shawl kind of thing, which hopefully maybe I'll make something like this in the future. But for this video, I am just going to make a very funky hat. So a couple things to note is I have never used a vintage crochet pattern before, so I'm very excited to see how well this goes, and it'll be very interesting to see how differently it is written from patterns today. Now, it is also in UK terminology, this book. I'm used to US terminology, even though I am from the UK, but there is a nice little handy dandy conversion chart in the back that shows you which are the right stitches in the US terminology. So that's really good to have. I don't need to be hopping on the internet all the time trying to remember what the right stitches are going to be. The pattern also calls for the Lee Target Moto Revere 4-ply yarn, but I have chosen to use the Drops Saffron 100% cotton yarn. And the colours I have picked, I've tried to match as best I could the colours of the hat. I guess it's time to get started. So I've put all of them in a row and kind of put on the label what letter they are, and I'm trying to set it all so they've all got a centre pull and it's all neat and happy. And for the pink, I did find the centre pull. Unfortunately, it's attached to a big tangled mess in the middle, so I need to sort that and then finish setting up the rest of the yarn and I will be ready to go. Okay, I am finally ready to get started. I have my 3.5mm hook, which is what the pattern calls for, and I have my colour A, which I've chosen the green for. So let's get started. It starts with just a chain 6. Okay, so there we go. We have our start. Now the first round starts with a chain 2, which count as the first half treble, which is a half double in US terminology. So I need to do 7 of those into the circle and then join with a slip stitch into the second chain. Yeah, so with that counting as the first half double, it's 8 in total basically. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do maybe 2 or 3 rounds of this hat and come back. Then, unless something dramatic happens in between, but I will be back shortly. Okay, so I've just finished round 1 and something dramatic happened already because I need to do a colour change. So now it just says to do the slip stitch and then break off. I usually would do the colour change kind of during that last stitch. So I'm not sure what to do. I don't know whether to just kind of fully tie it off and then I guess that's probably what it calls for. And then just pull it through. There's going to be so many ends to weave in. Okay, I guess. I will say I think the chain 6, was it? And slip stitch is definitely not as neat as a magic circle. I would definitely prefer to use a magic circle, but I want to keep it as true to the pattern as possible. So I'm going to get my colour B. Just need to find the end of it first. Alright, there we go. So this is going to be a chain 2 and then half treble or half double into stitch at the base of chain. Okay, yeah. And then 2 half treble crochets or half double into the next half treble, repeat, and just repeat that till the end, and then join with a slip stitch. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, I am back with the end of round 2, moving on to round 3. So this is calling to use both B and C on this round, so it looks like it's just, you know, going to be the 1 half double or half treble, and then 2 half double half trebles into the next stitch. So just continuing to increase basically, but now using 2 different colours of 4 stitches each going round is what I think it is telling me to do. So I'll be back after that round and see how that goes. Hi, so I am back with round 3. It's time to show that kind of funky staggered colour change that's throughout the hat. I think I'm doing pretty well with this pattern so far. Now that I've kind of got my head around the UK to US terminology, I think it's fine. It's basically all worked up in half treble in UK and half double in US. So I think it's pretty good. I'm used to doing colour changes. I tried to show you the how I was doing my colour changes. Sorry if it was terrible. I tried my best. It's not the right, you know, best angle kind of showing this way. But basically what I do is when I'm on the last stitch before I need to have the colour change, instead of pulling, you know, through the colour of the stitch I'm doing, I pull through the other colour to finish that stitch off, which for me creates a pretty nice, relatively seamless colour change. So I think I'm just going to continue. I really like this pattern so far. I think this is quite a good one to get used to, I guess, a vintage pattern, although I feel like it's not written all too differently as modern patterns. So this is actually going to be a bit easier than I thought. I've just finished round 3. There is 37 rounds in total. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get a little cozy, watch some YouTube and kind of get on with this, and I'll be back maybe around round 10 maybe, just to kind of update you on my progress and maybe have some more thoughts on the pattern. Yeah, I'll see you in a little bit. Hi guys, I'm back. I did in fact get to row 10 or 11, and then and then I decided to try figure out the exact order of the colours, and I think just working from kind of the end and kind of going down, I think I do know in fact the exact order the colours are going to be, so hopefully I'll be able to make it exactly the same as this. And I just restarted and I've gotten this far, although I don't know what happened here, but it's fine. So this is, I think, row 9, I think I've just finished, so I need to do row 10 and row 11, and then row 12 is a little bit different. I think this is, yeah, so row 12 is where the increases are stopping. And then further down in the pattern, kind of 13, 14, 15, it's saying as 12. Now, it's only requiring one colour for each round, so I'm just assuming it means ignore the colour changes in round 12 and just do the same amount of stitches, but with just one colour. And then there are some colour changes further on. So I'm going to continue with this. It's a pretty easy pattern. I think it'd be very easy even for a beginner to do. So this is a good intro into using a vintage pattern, and it's making me a little bit braver to try with some maybe more complicated ones in the future. It looks kind of, I don't know how I feel about it so far, but it is what it is. I'm going to keep going and I'll update you in a few rounds. So I have just finished row 23 and it's looking really cute, although I am a bit concerned that it's a little bit small. I think it might be a little bit small. However, it does have like a decent amount of stretch for it, especially for cotton. So I'm thinking I'm not sure. I'm going to keep going as is because I'm thinking I might be able to just steam it a little bit to kind of just loosen it out, because it's not that far off like fitting. It's just a little bit snug, but it's still not too bad. I think a little bit of steaming will kind of make it fit enough. It said that it was supposed to fit just a regular sized head, and I think I have a regular sized head. But yeah, I think it is really funky. I'm really happy with how it's turning out. So I think I'm gonna leave it there for today and pick it up again tomorrow and finish it. So I'll be back again tomorrow with another update, maybe even with a finished hat before steaming it. We can do a before and after and see if the steaming helps, but there we go. I think it's going pretty good. Not too bad for my first attempt at a vintage crochet pattern. Hi, so it's the next day and I've made a little bit of progress on my hat. I have just finished row 27. Now, before row 28, it wants me to shape the brim. Now, the brim on the cloche hat is just kind of flipped up, so that's what I'm assuming it wants me to do. And that will make it so I'm working in the opposite way. So as I'm crocheting normally, right? So I'm crocheting normally, I'm crocheting this way like that. But when I flip it, I need to turn it over, and then that's getting me to crochet in the opposite direction that I usually am. So I'm still obviously working to the right, but on the piece it's going backwards. So I'm assuming that's why it wants me to flip it now. I don't know, what that's going to do working in the opposite direction. If anyone knows, please let me know, or let me know if this is not what it wants me to do. But I'm going to continue on with this, with it flipped, and I'm going to start off with some increases for the next round, and thankfully it's for the first increase row in a while, it's just one colour, so it's going to be pretty easy. And then it continues with just using one colour for the 2 rows after that, so row 28 to 30, or use solid colours. So I'm going to start with that, and I think I'll be back after row 30. So I have just finished round 30 and this is how it's looking so far, and I thought maybe it's time to do a try on. So let's see how it's looking so far. Oh, it's so cute! Okay, I'm very happy with this so far. I think it's very, very cute, very, very funky. So coming up, there's going to be some more colour changes and kind of some more slower increases. The last increase row was increasing every other stitch, whereas I think it goes into every 4 and then every 5, or every 5 and then every 6. So it's going to slow down, but it's going to increase a little bit more. And I am going to come back after row 36, because row 37 requires working left to right, and I have never done that before. So I'm a little bit nervous about that, so I'm going to have to do some research and try and figure out how the best way to do that is. But oh, it's so cute. Okay, I'm very happy. I'll be back after row 36. Okay, so I'm all done with row 36 and I'm about to start the final row, row 37, which I believe is just basically just a round of reverse single crochets, or I guess reverse double crochets in the UK terminology. I have not done that before, so I'm a little bit nervous. I have tried before on other patterns and then just did something else instead, but I'm determined to actually do it right this time. So let's get started. Ta-da! The hat is finished. I'm so happy I did go ahead and do the reverse single crochet border on the end. It does finish it really, really nicely. I can't believe it took so long for me to do a reverse single crochet. It was a lot simpler than I was expecting, so I'm very glad I did that. I've learned a new crochet skill and I think I nailed it. It's a bit floppier, I guess, than I was expecting. I might be able to fix that with some odd kind of stitches in place, but it's kind of nice floppy, but there we go. It's so cute. It turned out so good. I'm so happy with it. It turned out better than I was expecting. I was very worried halfway through the project that it was going to be too small, but it ended up fitting perfectly, so that's really awesome. And there we go, that's this video. I'm sorry if it was a bit of a weird one. I haven't been feeling very well the last couple of weeks, so I did get confused a few times during this project when I really didn't need to. I was overcomplicating things in my brain, thinking there was some kind of weird vintage crochet terminology. My brain just wasn't working. So this was actually a very easy pattern to follow, and I'm really happy with it. It's very cute, very funky, very different than a lot of the other projects I've done before and have on my project to-do list. So yeah, there we go. Thank you for watching, and I hope this inspires you to seek out some more vintage crochet patterns. I found this book in a local charity shop, so that's really great as well. Oh yeah, there we go. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you. Sing from above.